Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and of course, continuing on, reviewing Halloweenish materials on the weekends. Yes, so that's right. What I'm now about to review, and as was clearly teased in the last review video, I'm sure, how could you not figure out what I was teasing? Because, a cat who hates Mondays is a lasagna, eating cat, etc. Yeah. So, yep, that's right. Reviewing something Garfield, of course. Yep, because, you read the title and you noticed my shirt and so on. Yep. And not to mention, this one piece of Garfield material is celebrating its anniversary. And, of course, it's something Halloweenish that has something to do with Garfield. Garfield that is doing something Halloweenish. So, yes, that's right, guys. I am now finally reviewing from 1985, Garfield's Halloween Adventure, or as it's also considered, technically, but nowadays it's just called Garfield's Halloween Adventure. It also goes by a different title, and I'm looking at it right now on its IMDb page, Garfield in Disguise. Definitely Garfield's Halloween Adventure is a very appropriate title, because, duh, that's what this is. But so Garfield's Halloween Adventure, being one of those early Garfield pieces of animation materials that came out in the early/mid-1980s, especially before Garfield and Friends happened. Garfield and Friends happened in the late 1980s, and Garfield's Halloween Adventure being one of those early Garfield pieces of animation, pieces of animation of something Garfield. And this being one of those holiday specials of Garfield, alongside with, Garfield also having a Thanksgiving special and a Christmas special, amongst others. But So, with what Garfield's Halloween Adventure has to offer, from beginning to end, is pretty interesting. And definitely because, it's perfect to watch, of course, around Halloween time, and for anybody who's in the mood for nostalgia, especially for anybody who grew up with the Garfield films and specials, etc. And, and this wouldn't be like one of those Halloween specials that's, right up there with, say, The Great Pumpkin. No, even with what James Rolfe had to say about that. But just, overall, it's a really good Garfield Halloween special for what it is. And its theme and setting with what Garfield and Odie get themselves into on Halloween night, and some creepiness here and there, but until I get there, And just for me, because having to watch it fully, because, I quite enjoy it. And of course, I love anything Garfield. I'm a Garfield fan. I'm sure the same goes for you. And I'm sure you guys have seen this before. This is a pretty good Garfield Halloween special for what it is, from beginning to end, And during the good old days of Garfield animation materials. Don't you think? Alright, but anyways. So overall, Garfield's Halloween Adventure, excellent. An excellent animated Halloween TV special. Alright, so with the first things I've had to say about Garfield's Halloween Adventure now out of the way, now as always, for me, read the description / the story. And it's a short one. When Garfield and Odie are out trick-or-treating, they end up at a haunted house. Again, that was a short description / story / overview, but alright. Okay, so now with that out of the way, let's dive into the Garfield Halloween special itself. Shall we? So, where we start off, because, Garfield, we, of course, see Garfield himself, and at the time, Garfield being voiced by the late Lorenzo Music, whom, he was the primetime voice of Garfield, and, he wakes up to the TV that comes on, and Binky the Clown is on. And this was actually one of Binky the Clown's very first physical appearances in something Garfield. So Garfield waking up to Binky on TV, getting those to exercise and such, but Garfield, he could care less. That is until, right as he turns off the TV, he just about hears Binky mentioning about candy, and Garfield then turning the TV back on, trying to find Binky, and yeah, when he puts Binky back up on the TV, Binky mentions that today is Halloween, and when, you go out trick-or-treating and such. Yep, that's something that Garfield loves to hear, and one good reason for him to get out of bed and just not being there all lazy and tired. So now Garfield is up and moving and is more than happy and excited as he could ever be to get some candy. And the songs that are in Garfield's Halloween adventure, the first being, and during the opening credits, This Is the Night, Trick or Treat, and most of these, just a few of these songs that Garfield sings are sung by Garfield's singing voice, Lou Rawls. Yeah, I think I got his name right. And there are a few that, Lorenzo is singing. He is sometimes doing the singing voice of Garfield. But that is with the exception of just, 2 songs in Garfield's Halloween adventure that are not performed by Lorenzo. So This Is the Night, Trick or Treat, and in the song, Garfield mentions a few things that he dislikes, like pine needles, fireworks, bunnies, and, rowdy, siblings, family members. Okay. It's a nice first song that we get in Garfield's Halloween adventure. Then after that, and with the opening credits, Garfield goes back to sleep, take a nap, up until the sun is setting down. And it's going to be that time soon to go out and do some trick-or-treating. And Garfield interacting with John Arbuckle and Odie some. John Arbuckle was in the middle of carving a pumpkin and got startled by Garfield pretending to be a ghost under his blanket sheet. And, of course, John Arbuckle, at the time, being voiced by Tom Huge. And Odie? Greg Berger. Yep, one of the big-time voices of Odie the dog. And even, at one point, John made Garfield breakfast. And at first, Garfield turns down the breakfast, but he can't help himself, and him being Garfield, he takes the breakfast, all of it. I'll take this, you know what, I'll take that, and just takes the rest of the tray, so. I mean, he was wanting to, he at first wanted to not have breakfast to save and wait to have the candy and so on, but Then, at one point, when he at one point scares Odie, pretending to be a ghost once again, but even Garfield, he got startled a little by the sight of Odie, whom accidentally got the jack-o'-lantern on his head. It was on John's head at first when Garfield scared him, but then the jack-o'-lantern at one point got on Odie's head. And, through conversations, that Garfield has with Odie, then at one point, it occurs Garfield that he should have Odie tag along with him so he can get twice as much candy. Garfield being Garfield, of course. So, thus, he invites Odie along. And then it comes to, the decision on what Garfield should wear for Halloween, what costume he should wear. And, because the next song we get, What Should I Be? This one being performed by Lorenzo Music. I'd say probably What Should I Be is probably one of my favorites, favorite songs from Garfield's Halloween adventure. Just, catchy tune. That's all it is. And, just different costumes that Garfield's going through, like an alien or a clown, a hobo, a vampire, up till he then decides officially to go as a pirate. Arr. And the same would go for Odie. Yep, so both of them are dressed as pirates. And before they leave the house, another interaction with John, because, Garfield acting like a pirate and stealing John's lasagna. Of course, Garfield's got to get some of that lasagna. So, yeah, after seeing John, and that's the last we see of John in this, they disembark and they go through the streets, the neighborhood, to, well, get some candy. And the next song we get is Scaredy Cat, and this one being, Low Rawls. Again, you know me sometimes. So, with that song playing, and Garfield, basically saying that he's no scaredy cat, being scared of, say, what they're seeing tonight, kids dressed in costumes. Even, it's like Odie, he gets scared, but, Garfield shows Odie that there's nothing to be scared about. It's just simple kids, wearing costumes. But that escalates really quickly when both Garfield and Odie discover that there are a few trick-or-treaters out tonight that probably aren't kids. One that has tall, furry legs, a monster almost, and one trick-or-treater with a scary-looking mask, and when Garfield lifts it up, it's the same face that's on the mask. So, yeah. You were saying, Garfield? You say you're a scaredy cat? Yeah, I don't buy it. But yeah, overall, Scaredy Cat is another pretty good catchy song. Anyways, and to kind of speed things up, because, at one point, and as how far they've come to do some trick-or-treating and get some candy, even when, at one point, they did get some candy from this woman, and Garfield acting like a pirate, demanding more candy, which, she obliges. And then at one point, they come to this dock, and then Garfield gets another idea. By hopping on a boat and going to the other side of the river, where there's more houses, and they can get more candy. Well, Garfield being Garfield, of course. And he even at one point is saying to himself that maybe he should give up so much candy, too much candy he's got. Maybe he should give it to the kids that can't have candy or something. You know what I mean? But, nah, Garfield decides that, that's not necessary. Damn, Garfield. That's Garfield for you. But anyway, so they hop on a boat, and they ride out into the river, but at some point, they do get lost. And Garfield, by that point, he wants to go home, because he then realizes it was a bad idea, with what he came up with. But that is, however, until they do come across this house on this private island, and thus they make their way to this house. And if this house, this owner, whomever lives in this house on this private island, has candy, so they make their way there, and, well, with what they discover, and this is where we get to the creepy and scary stuff in this Garfield Halloween special. They would come across, this house, and when going in, well, there's no one in sight, but they do go up to this fireplace, but they would then be greeted by this creepy old man who is sitting on a chair, and the old man, being credited as the old man, being voiced by C. Lindsay Workman. Lindsay Workman? Yeah, I think I got the middle name right, but yeah. The old man who just came out of nowhere and, tells Garfield and Odie to stay where they're at and to hear his story. Because apparently, in this house, this cabin, 100 years ago today, on this very night, pirates were present on this island, and they were trying to get away from, the Navy and so on, the Royal, Navy and etc. And, they had to bury/hide the treasure. And they wrote a declaration/contract with their own blood to come back the day they buried the treasure 100 years later. And that would mean that, because their ghosts would come back, to reclaim the treasure. And apparently, this 10-year-old, 10-year-old whom was to guard and be there in this house/cabin to guard the treasure, turns out it's the old man whom is that kid. who has been there all his life, guarding the treasure, and until, on this very night, the pirates would return by midnight. And after all that, and, Garfield just finds this rubbish. He doesn't really have that much to say about the story that the old man has shared. Well, because, he, of course, plans for him and Odie to disembark, even inviting the old man to come along. But when they turn their backs, and when they look back at the chair, well, the old man's gone. Where'd he go? But then they would discover that, and when trying to get back to the boat, the old man got on the boat. He fled. And because he got on the boat, that also means that, their candy is going along with the old man as well. They left their candy on the boat. And because of this, now they're stuck. And to make things worse, a ghostly pirate ship emerges. And it's obvious that, it's those pirates that have come back 100 years later to reclaim their buried treasure. And, and more creepy and scariness that happens in this Garfield Halloween special. And when Garfield and Odie, they make a run for it back inside, and they hide from the pirates, the ghostly pirates, they emerge to get their buried treasure. Odie was about to sneeze, and sure enough, he does. They were hiding in in these doors and such, in a cabinet. Yeah, that's right, cabinet. Gotta slow down. And because of this, they are discovered by the pirates. Even Garfield was like, when they closed the doors, maybe they didn't see us, but nope. No, they did. They did, Garfield. And they get scared and they make a run for it. The ghostly pirates were on their tail, but luckily they managed to avoid and dodge the pirates by jumping off the dock. They have to swim. That's really all they can do. And Garfield, on the other hand, well, he can't swim. But good on Odie. So much shit that Garfield's done to Odie. It's obvious that Odie still has a soft spot for Garfield, right? So, of course, what happens next is Odie would save the day. He would rescue Garfield's life, and they would get up to shore. And luckily, they managed to stumble upon and reunite with the boat that still has the candy. So, I guess, overall, the old man just wanted to get off that island, just, row the boat to another part of an island and just flee for his life, I guess. Probably. But, overall, they reclaim their candy, and thus, they finally make their way back home. And the last scene we get in Garfield's Halloween adventure, well, after Odie saved Garfield's life, Garfield rewards Odie with something, and Garfield making it very clear that this is out of his character, and it is. It's a very rare moment for the character of Garfield, right? Because, Garfield, he gives one of the bags of candy for Odie, his share, the half of candy to Odie. Good on you, Garfield. A very rare occasion for him to do something like that, to be very kind and heartwarming, you know what I'm saying? And, Garfield, in the end, same goes for Odie. They call it a day. Halloween is come and gone, and, Garfield just, going to sleep as he always does. What a nice way to end off Garfield's Halloween adventure, because, again, Garfield doing a very rare thing where he's very nice, especially towards Odie. Don't you think? Definitely. Garfield's Halloween adventure. It's a delightful, enjoyable piece of Garfield material that's something Halloweenish. Everything about it from beginning to end. The Garfield Halloween special storyline, what goes on with the characters, the spooky creepiness, scariness, all that. The whole thing of the pirate ghosts, the buried treasure, the creepy old man, and the songs that are in Garfield's Halloween adventure from This Is the Night, Trick or Treat, Scaredy Cat, What Should I Be? Also, Yo Ho. That was another good song too, Yo Ho. Couldn't forget to mention that either. I mean, of course, there would have to be a pirate song, and since they're dressed as pirates. And great animation, and because the animation of this Garfield special and from the 80s. Fantastic. Great voice performances, most prominently from the late, great Lorenzo Music, the original voice of Garfield. The funny moments, and the nice, heartwarming end at the end, you know, where Garfield's nice for once. Yeah, a very rare moment for him, I should say. Yeah, facts. Yeah, just overall, Garfield's Halloween Adventure, or as it was originally titled, Garfield in Disguise. But yeah, definitely Garfield's Halloween Adventure, yeah, that being the, you know, true official name for this Garfield Halloween special. Yeah. And I'm giving Garfield's Halloween Adventure, well, why not? 10 out of 10 stars. Yes. 10 out of 10 stars for 1985's Garfield's Halloween Adventure. And what about you guys? What did you think of Garfield's Halloween Adventure itself? Have you seen this before? Is it one of your top favorite pieces of Garfield material? And, you know, also one of your top favorite Garfield holiday specials? And if you've seen all the others? You know, Garfield's had other Halloween specials, but yeah, definitely this one. It's one of the top best ones. And, you know, again, coming from the good old days of Garfield, you know, with the 2D hand-drawn animation from the 1980s. Did you find what comes from Garfield's Halloween Adventure, well, enjoyable, creepy, scary, you know, with the ghost pirates, the creepy old man? Do you have any favorite songs, favorite funny moments? And if you thought the ending where Garfield, you know, very rarely does something nice, especially towards Odie, yeah, what'd you think of that? Just, yeah, overall, what do you think of Garfield's Halloween Adventure itself? With what all I've had to say, my review, and yeah, what did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. And so, guys, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of 1985's Garfield's Halloween Adventure. More review videos are coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I will see you guys in the next video / review. And, well, of course, continuing on, reviewing more Halloweenish materials on the weekends. Stay tuned, because what I will be reviewing next, well, let's just say it has to do with a mouse whom is the leader of the club that's great for you and me, and let's just say he gets into quite a big situation with a runaway brain. I think you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Take care. Happy anniversary to Garfield's Halloween Adventure, and peace out. Mondays. Yarr!